Welcome to Bleachers and Speakers. I'm your host, June. I got my counterparts with me as today we do our NFC North Division discussion. I'm going to let these gentlemen introduce themselves and let them know where you can catch their broadcast. Dave, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing pretty good for this Wednesday as we record. It's OTAs are underway, and everybody's excited to see what's happening on the field over at Eagan. For who? The Minnesota Vikings, of course. And I am the executive producer over at Vikings First and Skol. You can find all our stuff anywhere you type Vikings First and Skol. Podcast, YouTube, written. It's all there. But
Mr. Pay, how you doing, sir?
I can't call it, man. It's a hump day. Happy the week is halfway over. We are halfway through another week of football-less action. Almost there. Dave and June.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm your man to know for all things Bears. The Bear Claw Pod, also underneath the Fans First Sports Network umbrella. We are the official place to get all your Chicago Bears information, news, reaction, a lot more reaction than the first two things that I mentioned. But yeah, the Bear Claw Pod, everywhere you get your podcasts.
Okay, and you guys have shows tonight, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What's going on tonight?
Well, on the Bear Claw, we are starting season 2 of Pay Dirt. Pay Dirt is our football gambling advice show. It is a simulcast. It is a partnership between my channel, the Bear Claw Pod, and Running Through the Jungle, which is a Cincinnati Bengals podcast, also underneath the FFSN network. We will be talking futures, so always a fun time.
Okay.
And on my channel, we have the Real Forno Show, where Tyler has an interesting thought. We have a left guard and Blake Brandel. Blake has been a good backup, multi-purpose offensive lineman for the Vikings since he entered the league 3 years ago. He's been sort of that 6-man off the bench. He's played both guard. I think he's actually done even a little center and tackle. Well, he's got the start this year at left guard. And Tyler's wondering, will he be the next Josh Metellus? And by that he means homegrown star that makes that leap from the 6th round into a quality starting offensive lineman. I hope the answer is yes, but we're going to have to find out and watch tonight to see what Tyler thinks.
Okay. And for those that are tuned into my channel here, subscribe to Bleachers and Speakers on YouTube. You see, if you're watching here, you can also subscribe to Motor City Metrics. And for your audio feeds, you can. We're on all podcast streaming platforms. All you have to do is type in Bleachers to Speakers, FFSN, in your platforms like Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts. Follow us there. Download the episodes. Gentlemen, I have a question to ask you about these OTAs. Me personally, I haven't been the kind of person that follows or pays attention to OTAs. And I'd like to know, and I'll start with you, Dave. Do you put a lot of stock in OTAs?
Not a tremendous amount of stock. I do put in some. I do want to hear how the players are looking, how they're learning, where they are positioned. You know, we drafted J.J. McCarthy. Well, he's the 3rd quarterback coming off the bench right now. He's got to earn his way up. Now, the question is, will he or not? I don't know. His passes seem fine. He's got a lot of juice in his arm. He can throw it. But what I'm seeing is they're actively working on his footwork. They're changing it up a little bit from what he did at Michigan. So things like that I take and look at. And for a quarterback, that's fine. For wide receivers, Justin Jefferson isn't there, right? Which I think everybody in the world knows. Well, that gives opportunities for Jordan Addison, Jalen Naylor, and everybody else in that wide receiving room to get more touches, right? They're only doing 7-on-7, so that they're not getting a whole lot anyways. What I miss is the old linemen and the defensive linemen, but we're not going to see that till training camp. So, but it's just it's a good measure to see who's learning, who's not learning. Speaking of not learning, Lewis Seen, the first round safety we drafted a few years ago on Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah's first draft, doesn't even rate backup status. He'll probably be gone at the end of the summer, I would suspect.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just those little things, the little bits and pieces that come out of it. And also the stories about the players. Those are pretty cool too. We get to learn them, get excited.
Yeah. Pay, what do you think about OTAs?
OTAs for the fan, for the general observer, it probably doesn't, unless you're like a super fan, is like, yeah, football, so organized football. Yeah, I love it. Maybe it hits you the right way, but it's not games. It's not actual padded practice. It's more so walkthroughs. For a young team, an up and coming team, it is important. It is where you plant the seeds of success. Coming out of the rookie mini camps where you're doing a lot of delivering the terminology, a lot of meet and greets, a lot of working on, let me see your footwork, let me see your technique, stuff like that. And now you bring in the vets for OTAs, and so we can get back into the mold. All of these things are great for a team that is, like the Bears, who followed a 3-win season, but with a 7-win season. This is the time where you make your hay. Now, for a veteran team, a team that's right on the cusp of doing some big things, or maybe even had success, a la the 2-time defending Super Bowl champs. This time of year is just, I'm here. I'm just here so I don't get fined type of action. But so you can it's 6 in one hand, half a dozen the other. It can be good, but it can also just be, an impediment to your day.
Well,
I got a question. Pay, I keep seeing things like your quarterback's dropping footballs in buckets, that he's the best. Even saw one that said he's further than Pat Mahomes was his rookie year.
I saw that same video.
But that portion of OTAs, now, obviously it's done by the public relations people of the respective teams, is to get fans hyped. Mm-hmm. And NFL's 24/7, 365. It has become that. And as long as you can get your fan base psyched up, hyped up, and riled up for the season, that's a good thing. And that's part of what this is.
Most definitely. Like you said, the NFL business don't stop. This is 24/7. We might be doing this show when there's a camera crew following OTAs. You already see they got off-season hard knocks now. That might extend to OTAs at some point in the future. But yeah, the public relations department, they're going to put out all the fluff pieces, all the highlights, and those are going to get circulated through all the talk shows, all the radio shows, and that just helps the business more. As a fan, I don't mind. I understand what they're doing, and they're going to get my dollar at the end of the day anyway. So it's definitely it's all part of the game. Shout out to the Wire.
Yeah, I'm going to read this comment by Sean Gurley. OTA are the most important part of the NFL game. You prepare for the season success in OTAs. This is why more and more players are buying into attending versus sitting out and private workouts. Mel says, hi, Dave, June, and Pay, and she agrees with what Sean says. So, yeah, I mean, maybe I should pay attention a little bit more to them. But let me ask you this, Dave. Does these things worry you like you have, like you mentioned, JJ not attending, during, for maybe contractual reasons, but would JJ be at these workouts even if he was under contract? Was he there last year?
No, he wasn't there last year, and we didn't expect him here this year. Now, I would like him to get some reps with our quarterbacks, whether it be JJ McCarthy or Sam Darnold. I'd like to get that chemistry going. But him not being there, I'm not worried about him. Part of OTAs is installing. You're going through your initial installment with the vets of the offense and the rookies for that matter. They saw it last week as well. You're going through all of that. Now, because JJ's not there, he will be there for the mandatory one in June. He's already said that. So for him, it's a contract thing, and he's waiting to make sure he sets the market. We were talking pre-show about setting the market with quarterbacks. He's going to do it with wide receivers. So that doesn't bother me. There was, I think everybody on the Vikings showed up except for JJ. And there may have been a couple guys that were rehabbing. TJ Hawkinson was one of them. He was there, but he was gimping around still. And things like that. And as long as the whole team's basically there, you can do that. You go through the classroom periods. That's what a bunch of this is each, position group will get in their rooms and they'll go over stuff, and then they go out and they try to demonstrate some of that on the field, and then they come back and they'll do it again, and it's rinse and repeat so they can get all that in, and then they go over it again in training camp. Hopefully they've absorbed all of that. But that's what it is. I'm not worried about JJ because he's already proficient. If it's somebody that's new to the system, or you have a new system, right? Say you get a brand new offensive coordinator that's changing everything up, or a brand new defensive coordinator that's changing everything up, then the players need to be there, because you're going to have to learn that stuff. And that's where OTAs are becoming so important. And generally, if you have those situations where you've got a new offense or a new defense being installed, you'll see everybody there, at least all the starters. You're not going to get the holdouts.
Okay. Well, we might have to come up with some different lingo, because you have two JJs now. You have Justin Jefferson and you got JJ McCarthy. Because I was thinking, wait, hold on. McCarthy.
Well, what I should do is what Justin Jefferson told JJ McCarthy. He goes, "You can be JJ. Jettas or Jets."
Okay. There we go. And Mr. Foster is in the building, aka the Frontline Apparel CEO. I got me a Frontline Apparel shirt. You can get one from him too, along with your other apparel needs. How you doing, Mr. Foster?
I'm good. Just
late.
rolling in.
Just late. Yeah.
Correct.
They got traffic in Detroit.
Oh my God, what?
Yeah, the city's get an influx of new people now, right?
You read that, huh? You paying a little too much attention to Detroit, bro.
Hey, I'm a what can I say?
Stick to the
I'm
line.
a worldly guy. What can I say? You got the population's booming, and so is the bandwagon, from what I understand.
Yeah, I was surprised to read that the other day. I'm surprised you know about that. Gotta watch you, Pay. I gotta watch you, man. This is from a territory you shouldn't be paying attention to, man. Just stick to the Lions, maybe the Pistons. I mean, you can ignore them for a little while, but just stick to the sports, man. Stick to the sports. Foster, we were just talking about OTAs and everybody's seeing how everybody feels about them. And I'm gonna ask you the same question. Do you put a lot of stock in OTAs?
Not a whole lot. I mean, it's the first, opportunity to see everybody together for the most part. And I guess it can be interesting to see who decides to show up, who doesn't show up, and speculate as to why. But it's also another opportunity to see where people are at physically. We've got some guys that are one in particular that's come back in pretty good shape. So that's always good to see. But it's just the building of all the narratives and storylines that are to be created once things are mandatory and we start getting into training camp. So not a lot, but it's just another formality in the off season stuff.
Okay. Is that person in particular you're talking about, Mr. Brick Martin?
Mr. Brick Martin, yeah, he's got
He's not Broderick anymore. He's Brick Martin.
Built like a brick house now. So but yeah, that's who I was referencing.
For sure. We're going to take a quick break here. You'll hear some from my people that's watching. We'll be back in 15 seconds. If you're listening, you're going to hear some wonderful ads, I'm sure. We back. I told you it wasn't gonna take that long. Everybody's still intact. Nobody's people are still sober. There's more shows to go from my counterparts, and me and Foster have some recording to do. So can't promise you that later. There'll be there'll be a few drinks in between. Starting with let's talk about, do you have, I'm gonna go around the room and ask Dave. I don't know if you paid any attention, but do you have any signings to note? Because the reason I bring that up is because Bo Nix recently signed. He's like the only quarterback to have signed so far. He looked really happy at the table. I was happy for him. But do you have any signings to note as far as the draft or any other free agent signings that has happened recently?
Yeah, there's been a few. One non-draft related. We re-signed James Lynch, who was one of our defensive tackles. We let him go last year on an injury release, I believe. And we brought him back this year, bumped off another one. It's the whole bottom of the roster churn thing. And James Lynch is going on his fourth season, and he could be a rotational piece on our defensive line. But the big deal is we've started signing our rookies. We've got most of them signed already. We signed our kicker, Will Reichard, who seems like a very interesting individual. And by interesting, he's not your prototypical football player by any means, but kickers are people too. I got to remind people of that. Offensive lineman Michael Juergens, defensive lineman Levi Drake Rodriguez, offensive lineman Walter Rouse have all been signed. JJ McCarthy, who we got at the number 10 spot, still has not signed his, nor has Dallas Turner, who we got at 17. And our fourth round pick at corner, Kyrie Jackson, has yet to sign as well. So we're waiting those last three, and then we'll have the whole draft class signed. They are participating in OTAs. They've taken out appropriate insurance policies, so they're doing that.
Hey, you have any signings to note, or have you paid attention? I understand if you don't, because I haven't really at all.
No, the Bears have been booked and busy the past week. After rookie minicamp, they extended some invitations to six guys that participated in rookie minicamp so they signed them on a tryout basis. I'm not going to read the names off because I'm pretty sure no one's ever heard of them. But one of them is the son of a former Bear from back in the 90s. If you all remember John Jackson, he was a wide receiver for the Bears. His son is trying out for the Bears as well. So he was one of those 6 signings.
Okay.
Other than that, the Bears have signed one of their recent draft picks. The world famous 4th round pick, Iowa punter. Yes. He was the first draft pick signed for the
Hunters
Bears.
are people too.
Yeah. That's what they tell me.
The best out the way.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you Green Bay's got all their class signed except for their first rounder, Jordan Morgan, second rounder, Edgerrin. I guess I probably butchered that. Cooper and Javon Bullard. So they've got those 3 left to sign, but all their classes signed to
Okay.
this point, except for those 3.
There was from the Lions standpoint, there was a particular signing, and they were kind of impressed by the things he's doing. I forgot his hold on. Let me see. Sion Baki. Foster, is that his name? Did I say his name right?
Yeah.
He's the young man out of Utah, and he played safety there, and he played running back. And when he was drafted, I'm thinking, okay, they're going to put him at safety, right? There's just no way. But they've been projecting him as being the third running back, which was surprising because we have Craig Reynolds as our third running back. But he said he's been working at running back, and they're very impressed with his came in shape and running pretty well. So we'll see. Foster, do you know of any do you have any signings to note as far as the Detroit Lions?
Yeah, the majority of our draft picks outside of Terrion Arnold and whoever we picked second, but Christian Mahogany, Gio Manu, Makai Wingo, and as you said, Vaki as well, have all signed. We also signed CJ Moore, who's kind of a special teams
gambler.
The gambler, yes, the gambler. So
Shohei Ohtani?
Not quite that value, anyways. But yeah, those are the most notable signings. And it's funny, I was asking Dave last week how you feel about how your defense is and all that, and I totally forgot that you guys drafted Dallas Turner. I think I intentionally tried to wipe that out of my brain.
Yeah, that's not nothing good to remember.
Yeah, so yeah, when he mentioned that, I was like, oh wow, they did get my dream draft pick.
Dream pick, yeah.
But we are happy with Terrion Arnold and so Ennis Rakestraw. He's the other guy that hasn't signed as of yet. So
okay. I don't foresee them having a problem getting them signed. The cap space is at a good number there, and it's just a matter of time. Did you hear anything about Enos and his where they projected him to play? Because the reason I asked that is because of the offseason signings with Robinson and Carlton Davis, along with drafting Terrion. Did you hear anything about Enos or
well, we're gonna call him Rakestraw because that sounds like real close to something else, but but I think they have Brian Branch moving over to a more of a full-time safety role, opening up that nickelback situation for him to kind of take a shot at that, along with Robertson, who also got signed. So he won't be necessarily thrown right into the fire, but I think they're going to utilize Branch more so in that full-time safety role, just to kind of open things up for the new cornerback. So it should be a good competition going into camp, and nothing wrong with having some guys fight for as many snaps as they can, because you can never have enough guys in the secondary. We know what league we're playing in.
Right. Is Branch hurt? I've been hearing things about him not.
Yeah, so when they obviously he was old teammates with Terrion Arnold. So the first time that we realized that he was hurt was when he was kind of on that little wheel,
the scooter.
The scooter, yes, which I thought was just a scooter. We got those scooters downtown but no, his knee was propped up on that. So I don't see any. I mean, there were a decent amount of guys that are still recovering from injury. But nothing, threatening to the beginning of training camp. But yeah, guys like Derek Barnes, who got hurt in the in the 49ers game, Brian Branch, DJ Reader, Kirby Joseph, Emmanuel Mosley, of course. Those are just some guys that weren't ready to participate in OTAs, but obviously we're still a couple months off from, the big thing, the big thing. So not to be worried about.
Dave, do you have any injuries or any injury reports from Minnesota?
There's, of course, TJ Hawkinson still recovering from last year's injury, his ACL.
Yeah.
There's I haven't heard of anything fresh that has happened in the last couple of weeks. We did sign. You want to get back to signings?
Sure.
And who you brought in for somebody that's injured? TJ Hawkinson, it's debated when he's going to be able to return, right? Some people are hoping for week 1. Well, the timeline of, because he pulled his MCL and tore his ACL, and when he finally got his surgery on the ACL, puts it November, December time period.
Yeah.
If at all for the year. Well, we went out and we signed Robert Tunyon, who should sound familiar because he's played with
Packers.
every team in the NFC North.
Unfortunately.
And now with the Vikings making it the hat trick.
Play for the Lions?
Yep. He was briefly on the Lions.
Okay. I remember the Packers stint.
Yeah, well, he was good on the Packers. Aaron Rodgers loved him.
Yeah.
But supposedly he was briefly on the Lions at one point in time. So, and of course, last year he was in Chicago.
Dropping passes.
Was he? I didn't even remember. I guess I kind of remember that a little bit. But
Yeah, that was, you can see the disgust on Pace. Dropping passes. It was
very forgettable time there, I guess.
He was good 2 years ago, but that was 2 years. I'm sure you guys have the same type of fans where hey, we need to get this vet. He was good 2, 3, 4 years ago. Maybe he'd be good for us. Well, probably the reason why he hasn't been good the last couple of years is because he's, going on the backside of the hill.
A Boeing jet.
A Boeing jet. Wow. Too soon.
Hey, you got any injuries to report? Any upgrades? Any of the sort with the Bears there?
I don't think we have any injuries at this moment as we're recording this. We did have a one pretty noticeable one, but notable one during rookie minicamp. That was our first round draft pick. He was held out for a couple of days with an ankle injury. That's Rome Odunze. So, but as of right now, everything seems to be fine. And that didn't really, bother anybody. It wasn't any red flags with him being limited so early in his professional career. Because as you know, Rome wasn't built in a day.
Oh, here we go.
Wow. You tried it there, Patty. You really?
He was so ready for that.
Yeah,
I could have said Rome wasn't built in a Duze, but I left that one. I left that one alone.
Oh.
You just had to do it.
Cut.
To do it. I gotta edit that out. I gotta figure out. Just dump that, Foster. Dump that. We're gonna dump that.
Need a drum. You do that.
Just dump that. Yeah. Mel says mute his mic. Yeah.
Tough crowd.
Yeah.
Now, all week. When it comes to injuries for the Packers, I did read one interesting piece this morning.
Good. Give us the news.
Christian Watson.
Oh.
Wide receiver. Right?
It's pretty good.
He's rehabbing, right? Because last year he keeps popping hamstrings. And the story was about how he's got this new rehab doctor or whatever that's told him he's got to get symmetrical. One of the reasons when he first injured it in college is that his other leg got stronger, and then it compensates while it heals. That's a normal body function. Everybody does that. But he didn't get the other leg up to full speed, and of course then bang goes the other one. And then he's trying to get that done. And then he's learning about not only do the legs have to be symmetrical, as in both the left and right is equally strong, but your hammy and your quads have to be symmetrical strength-wise. Because if the quads are overpower strength-wise your hammies, you're more likely to pull a hammy. If your hammies are stronger per whatever ratio it is than your quads, you're more likely to pull a quad on your leg. And so he's working the story was about how he's learning that's important and how he's working to strengthen his legs so that they're equal.
Unilateral work is very important.
Mm-hmm. Now, does that bode well for all of us?
Yes.
No.
Oh.
I mean, if he gets it to where he no longer pops hammies, every season, that hurts us. But
well, may his hammies continue to pop.
That's terrible.
I mean, for the
he
better
was-
of all of us. I mean, we all agree. I mean,
I'm only looking out for number one. So I mean, I'm with June here. I remember. I haven't forgot that Thanksgiving game. Yeah, I did not expect that type of performance out of him. He's just coming back off the injury list. No, then he does that. Blew my parlay real early. I was not happy. Not a very good holiday.
No.
Who you telling?
Yeah, I mean that's what happens around here at Thanksgiving time. I mean, it just happens.
You did try to warn me.
Yeah, it's just that's the way it goes. I mean, win a week before, win a week after, and Thanksgiving is usually the dud. It's
We
spoiled.
got you all on the schedule for Thanksgiving, right?
Yeah, that's going to change this year, though.
Oh wow!
Don't get too.
yeah. I thought he was trying to.
Yeah, I wanted to reel him in a little bit. Zap right
Yeah.
No, not going to happen this year, though. Pay not going to happen this year. We usually have problems with Green Bay, though. Here, just no matter the year. Here, we had problems with Green Bay. I think the year before last we didn't. But that was the first time in a very, very long time.
Well, there's problems with Green Bay in general. It's not fun going to Lambeau, but the last couple of years we've kind of had the number. But
yeah. So they've been a thorn for everybody in this division for a while.
Yep. But this division knows each other so well, and they play each other so close almost every year. That's what makes part of this being, one of the best divisions out there and most entertaining to watch, because all the games are close. They were all close last year, and they'll all be close this year, unfortunately.
Mel
in the AFC North.
Mel, I was misconstrued. There is Thanksgiving football from the Lions. There will not be a Thanksgiving loss because we're playing the Bears. Not because we're playing the Bears, but we are playing the Bears, and there will be a win. There will not. I'm saying that. Not saying the Lions aren't playing. They're just not going to lose this year on Thanksgiving.
To be continued.
To be continued.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, fellas. Now, I'll start with Dave again, and you can answer first. Will this be the toughest division in football next year?
I think so. It'll have 4 premier quarterbacks and good offensive weapons all around them. And the defenses are good.
Okay. Pay?
When you say, well, the way I see it, when I say tough, I liken it to what we've seen out of the NL Central the last few years. It's competitive up and down. Not necessarily an elite team, but everybody can take punches. There's no punching bags. We all about a bunch of brawlers. That's what I see out of this team, out of this division this season. I think, as we talked about, I think it was last week when Dave, you brought up the win-loss numbers. They got Vegas at 6-5. I'm taking the over on that. I got the Vikings going 7 wins at minimum. I think that's pretty fair. I think the Vikings are going to be better than what most people think. I do think the Vikings will probably be the last team in the division, but I don't think they'll be a typical last team. I think 6 wins, 7 wins, maybe mess around and get 8 and 9, and that's coming in 4th place. So tough, yes, very much so. The toughest, maybe not from a ceiling perspective. I still think the AFC North is the cream of the crop. They've got they save for an injury to one of the better quarterbacks in the league.
Right.
They might have put all 4 teams in the playoffs last year, and they're looking to do the same thing this year.
Who's in the NFC, AFC North?
Ravens, Browns, Steelers, and Bengals, who finished last, but they were 9-8, and Joe Burrow missed the last
6 games.
Yeah, a decent amount of games, and they still finished at 9-8. So,
Foster, what do you think about the NFC North?
Yeah, I was. Pay kind of stole my thunder with that one. I mean, you got to think as far as quarterbacks. Now, I don't know who the Browns quarterback is Deshaun Watson, who, for all intents and purposes, should be back to good because he got hurt last year. But yeah, you talk about quarterbacks, you got okay, all right. But yeah, you got Jackson, the Ravens quarterback. You got Watson, you got Russell Wilson, and for what it's worth, there. And then, of course, you got Joe Burrows as well. So, though that division always seems to have a really strong. Those teams used to tend to have really strong defenses as well. You talk about the Ravens, Steelers, but yeah, I think that outside of that, you got a lot of divisions with at least one pretty bad team, like your NFC West with the Cardinals and. Well, you got a couple. It's top heavy in the NFC East with the Eagles and Cowboys. But yeah, I think that we're NFC North is probably a division that where everybody's going to kind of beat up on each other, and that's going to keep us from having, like you said, that top notch, high ceiling team. But Lions might be pretty elite.
The 15-2 record.
The ways what? Oh yeah,
yeah. They did because we beat up on each other. We're not going to get that.
Right. I mean, I don't know if any team's going to be that good. But how many wins did the Niners get?
13? I think they had 12.
They lost 3 in a row early in the
season.
Yeah. And then they had about 12 wins, and then Baltimore went in there and thrashed them. I think they finished the season 12-5.
Were they 13-4?
Who? Oh, the 49ers?
Yeah.
Probably. Oh, that's right in front of me.
I have to look it up.
12-5, 13-4, around there.
12-5.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, 12-5. So, well, I mean, I don't never consider the NFC West as an elite division as well. I think they're sort of like going to be similar to what I think the NFC North is going to put out this season. It's going to be some tough teams, some tough battles, as they always do in the NFC West. You got strong defenses, you got character franchises, and you're going to have probably the winner of the division mess around and get 12 wins, and the best divisional record is probably be 4-2.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Far cry from the NFC South.
Far cry.
Yeah, I'd like to see that division do better though. Like it was just like they made the playoffs by default. Like they weren't even like Tampa Bay wasn't even that good of a team, even though they played pretty well versus the Lions in the playoff game. But it was like up until the last couple weeks of the season, you didn't know who was going to win the division, but they were not that very good. None of the teams were. It was like a toss-up. Like, what was Tampa Bay's record?
I think 9-8.
Yeah. So, yeah.
That's what it was.
And Baker had his revenge in the playoffs. That's for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Baker got himself a contract.
Yeah.
What was his contract numbers?
On about 35, somewhere in there.
We were talking about how to market before. I think it was before the show. We were talking about how much money these quarterbacks are making because of the market, and that'd be very interesting to find out. Somebody can look that up real quick.
3-year, 115. So that's like
it's 35.
Math is not my best.
What's 3 years? 150?
They couldn't round it to 120. Okay, so 120 would be 40.
38?
So
yeah, that's about 38 million, right?
Mm-hmm.
That sounds right. Dang,
I'm looking.
that's a lot of money for Pay.
You thought golf got a lot of money there, right, Pay?
So I'm looking at Spotrac.
50 guaranteed.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing. I see on Spotrac he signed a 3-year, $100 million contract, including $28.8 million signing bonus, $50 million guaranteed, average annual salary of 3,333,333,333. He will earn a base salary this season of $1,125,000, signing bonus of, like I said, the 28.8 million.
Hmm.
All right.
Good for him.
And this is the most important part. He has an out after this season. That's pretty it's pretty big. He still has an out before the actual contract actually kicks in.
So
he
because
has to show and prove.
Mm.
no, when you say out, that means he has a way out, or they can.
It doesn't say who controls the parameter.
I don't know why he would want out. It would, I guess
yeah.
maybe because the guaranteed money isn't a lot.
Well, I mean, if golf is getting, if golf is trending at that rate, and you all are saying Trevor Lawrence might get 50 mil a year, if Baker comes out and continues to
He's going to
trend
want to
up,
upgrade.
yeah, why not?
I don't see another level for him to get to, but sure.
He wants to play.
It's the division. If he sweeps the division,
They
won.
tied with the Saints and got one off a tiebreaker. I want to say. I think they both were 9-8.
He won. He has playoff wins. He was a number 1 pick. I mean, he's still in his prime age. He has another good. He has a good season. That's what I'm looking at. If I was his manager, I'm like, hey, we finna go right. We finna hit the mill again. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean this quarterback pay is just gonna increase. It's just gonna increase. The market is that market number is going up. That these players are driving that market number up. The cap space is getting bigger, and these quarterbacks are demanding more money. And the more they put on for their respective teams, they're going to demand more money, and they're probably going to get it. I'm just waiting.
Shocked when Justin Jefferson makes more money than Baker Mayfield.
I'm just waiting for that second contract.
Possibility.
Waiting for that second contract for Caleb when he asks for $70 million a year.
I can't wait.
But it'll probably be that high by then.
I can't wait.
Free nail paint from Sephora.
Oh.
That's a good sponsorship.
That's a great
I was say sponsors.
I think that's the right store. Is that right, Sephora?
Oh, come on. Now you said it right. You set that joke up. Come on.
Hey, it ain't tricking if you got it. Hey,
whoa, Foster! Wait a minute now. This is a children's
I had to
show.
make it sound cooler than that.
This is a children-friendly show, man.
If they're giving Caleb 70 mil a year, good things are happening. Bear down.
yeah, because that's not what Fields is getting paid.
But you kind of frowned upon golf getting that money though, so
for good reason.
Let me hear it.
So
that did a detriment of us. Why not?
Let me hear it.
Whoa. It's no hate. It was just, if he's getting a market rate contract, perfect. But as we've talked about, you never want to let those good feelings influence your decisions, right? Just like your first date, so to speak. You don't want to go marry. You don't want to marry your first after the first date, right? You don't want to propose. Just be discerning a little bit. Jared Goff, he's got the Lion fan base feeling real good about themselves, and I know they want to strike while the iron's hot. I feel you. I get it, but understand, Jared Goff is a bridge quarterback. He went to 2 Super Bowls and they put him out. Let's not make it seem.
One Super Bowl, right?
No, he went to 2. They went to 2 and then got Matt Stafford.
You go to 2 Super Bowls.
You go to 2 Super Bowls and then get put out. I mean,
it's some called bad decisions. I don't think he went to 2. I think it was 1.
The Rams made a bad decision.
I think it was 1. I think it was 1 Super Bowl, but I don't consider 3 seasons in to be a first date impression either.
Well, he had Jeff Foster, not Jeff Foster, but Jeff Fisher, Mr. 8-8, as his quarterback when he's a rookie. Then he got what's my man name is over there right now. I'm blanking on the Rams head coach right now. He had him. They went to a Super Bowl, and it may have not been 2. I may be remembering it differently, but he went to a Super Bowl, regressed. They said, "Get out. Let's go get Matt Stafford," and then went back to Super Bowl and won it. I'm just saying, man. You don't overpay bridge quarterbacks. You look for the future.
Yep. He went in 2008.
What is the future, though?
Say it again, Dave.
He went in 2018 was when he played in the Super Bowl.
Okay.
1 year, right?
Just one.
Just one.
Yeah.
Just
he
one.
made the playoffs the year before. He's made the playoffs 4 times. Gone all the way once.
Mm-hmm.
That
is listen, it's nothing against Detroit, because Atlanta did the same thing. You overpay bridge quarterbacks. At least you ought to give them a fully guaranteed. What's up, Falcons?
You talking about Kirk Cousins?
Hey,
Kirk
Vikings did
Cousins?
the exact same thing with Kirk Cousins.
Don't do that.
Pay
Wait.
this may not be your forte because the Bears.
Listen, we've done it too. We've in
Okay.
fact, out of all 3 of us, the Bears have made the worst quarterback decision. We extended Jay Cutler, so I'm not outside of this.
Okay, you're speaking from an area of expertise.
Exactly. You don't do it.
Gotcha. Golf fumble. Yeah, I definitely get what you're saying now. I mean, I personally thought the number was a little high, but I think the case he's made for that raise and the market drove that number up. That's all I'm saying. I thought it was a lot of money to give out, but hey,
it is a lot of money.
It's not my money. So
yeah. That's important. It's not ours.
And we still have a lot of space under the cap. So, hey, it is what it is. And then on top of that, the Lions have signed 2 other players of note, Penei Sewell and St. Brown, to lucrative contracts and still are at pretty a good amount under the cap. So, a lot of cap space. And I guess it is what it is. I mean, hey, that's why I'm sitting here and they're in their place.
Now, I did look up. I had misspoke. I thought he was like 4th or 5th highest paid quarterback. I was wrong. He is number 2 behind Joe Burrow. It goes Burrow, Goff, Herbert, Jackson, Hurts, Murray, Watson, Cousins, and then Mahomes.
For now.
For
Yeah,
this year.
it's all in timing and the fact that he's also the most recent to like the next set of guys. Like
next set of guys, like
Lawrence
I said,
is gonna.
wherever Lawrence gets that 50, that list goes down.
Tua's holding out of camp right now, waiting for his. So
yeah. So
Tua does not belong in the top 5. I said it. If it aggregates and Dolphin Nation gets mad at me, if 2 and 9 wants to fight with me, I said it.
Where would you put Tua?
I would put Tua. I would give him. That's if I decide to extend him. I would give him a contract somewhere between 7th and 10th highest.
Okay, that puts him in the 45.
Oh yeah, that's fair. Yeah, he should get paid more than Daniel Jones. That's fair.
Everybody should get paid more than Daniel Jones.
Whole bunch of guys. Yeah.
how much is Daniel Jones getting paid?
$40 million a year.
Because it was last year and that last.
You can't tell me if you're giving Daniel Jones that amount of money, you can't have anything bad to say about him.
Daniel Jones is extremely overpaid. This is exactly what I said. He had one good season. In fact, he had one good half season. You don't propose after the first date.
Now that is a first date. That is a first date.
Well, he did beat the Vikings in the first round of the playoffs that year, 2 years ago, and that's what got him his contract.
It's got to be the Vikings.
He won a playoff game.
Hey. Yeah, I guess you paid, huh, Frost?
Hey, that's what golf did that. I mean, not the playoffs, but he beat the Vikings twice.
Oh wow. Well,
not 3 times in a row.
That was because the Ed Donatel defense, and he handed that game to the Giants. God, that was so bad.
okay. Well, I guess that concludes our show for today. Foster, if you want to tell the people where they can catch us and your baseball show.
Yes, so you can catch us on Motor City Metrics for the live NFC North shows. You can catch us on Bleachers to Speakers as well on YouTube. You can catch us on all streaming platforms for the audio portion, and brand new Detroit Tigers show where we're the frustrated Detroit fan base right now because the Tigers are really stinking up on offense. Yeah, big time. And that the name of that show is called Corner to Copa. And you can catch the live shows on Bleachers to Speakers and on all streaming platforms. You can just look it up and it will be on there, me and Coach.
Okay, you want to run it back where they can find you?
As always, you can catch me on YouTube at the Frustrated Chicago Sports Fan and anywhere you get your podcasts. That's Apple, Spotify, YouTube Music, Pandora, anywhere else. You can catch the Bear Claw Pod there. Also, the Shot City Bulletin Board covering NBA with a Chicago Bulls bend. All of that is everywhere you get your pods. And we also have the video to support it on YouTube at the Frustrated Chicago Sports Fans. Check this out.
Dave.
You can find my content and our contact of the guys at Vikings First and Skull, the Vikings First and Skull YouTube page. You can find it any podcast aggregator you want to use. We're there. You can find our written stuff over at VikingsFirstandSkull.com, which directs you to the Fans First Sports Network's Minnesota Vikings page. And you can find us at Vikings First and Skull on Facebook. We've got our own page there as well, where we share writings and musings from some of our favorite authors around Vikings land. We're all there. We're there for you 7 days a week. So come check us out. And like I said, tonight, Tyler Fornes talking about Blake Brandel becoming our starting left guard. If you're like me, you love talk of big round bellies on the lines, both offense and defense. So it's going to be a good show.
All right. So what are they saying Vikings land there, Dave?
Skull Vikings.
Hey, what are they talking about in Chicago?
Bear down.
And for us, another one bites the flesh. All right, guys. It was good tapping in with you guys this week, man. Have a good show. Thank you for tuning in.